Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's make a reverse dyed t-shirt dress. So I'm going to grab where I'd like for the center of the geode to be, and I'm choosing an area right about the shoulder seam of the dress. I'm going to lift the dress up off the table, slide my hand down to the bottom of the dress, and I'm going to start tying the geodes from the bottom. I think tying geodes from the bottom up or out toward the center of the geode helps to keep the geodes from looking more like a bullseye, where all the lines are really perfect and the center is a circle. I want it to look a little bit more natural, so I want to keep the tie just a little messier. When I'm tying it, if a little bit of the fabric folds in, that's okay. Anything that you do when you tie a geode, which is a little more random, makes it look more like nature. So I'm going to vary the distance between the lines when I tie the sinew lines on the dress. That's going to help too. I'm using sinew because I'm going to do a reverse process or a color removal process on this dress, and the sinew has got a wax coating on it which won't allow the color remover or any of the dye, when I apply the dye, to go underneath that area. So everywhere where I'm placing a sinew line and tightening it down really well, that area is going to remain black. And the black lines that are going to be left in this dress are really going to make the colors that I put on it pop out. That's one reason why I like the reverse dyes so much. You can add black into a dress, or you can add black dye in on top of something, and it looks great. But I think there's just a different element when you remove the color, and that original dark black remains in the item. For the color removal process, I'm going to use a product called Out White Brite Laundry Whitener, which I usually purchase mine on the laundry aisle at Walmart. It's usually by the bleach products, even though it's not a bleach product and it's not going to damage the dress or have to be neutralized the way bleach will. If you can't find any at your local store, I have a link down below where you can purchase some from Amazon. I'm going to use this product outside because it does have a smell and I don't like to have that smell inside. I'm also wearing my respirator for the entire process because I don't want to inhale the fumes or any of the Out White Brite powder. I'm removing the color from several items all at the same time, and I have them down inside of a plastic tub or tote, and I'm going to sprinkle the Out White Brite over the top. Now I'm going to pour on some boiling hot water. And I haven't sped this part of the video up so you can see how fast it really works. I'm going to go ahead and leave the items in the Out White Brite solution for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then I'm going to take them to my utility sink, rinse them really well in cold water, and put them in my washing machine and wash them on. You can either use a hot or a warm cycle, it doesn't really matter. But I use a little bit of Dharma's Textile detergent, and that will help get some of the smell out from the Out White Brite. I'm very sensitive to smells, and I personally haven't really noticed an issue with either shirts or dresses or anything where I use Out White Brite having that smell linger for a long time. I've heard other tie-dyers complain about it though, and I'm a little curious whether or not it's due to the fact that I go ahead and wash my items after I do the color removal process. I know some tie-dyers don't, they just kind of rinse them really well and then soak them in soda ash. So if you're having problems with the Out White Brite smell remaining in the items, you might try washing them in between before you go ahead and dye them. After washing the dress, I put it into a soda ash solution and allowed it to soak for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I wrung it out of my Panda spin dryer and I set it aside for a couple days to dry out. I like to dye really thick folds like a geode when it's totally dry. And that's because I think I get better color saturation with a dry shirt or dress or whatever. I have a tie-dye blog out on my website, and there's a link to my website down below this video in the description. And I have a specific blog post about dyeing thick items when they're dry. By the way, if there's any specific topic or information that you'd like for me to make a blog on, just drop me a comment down below and let me know. I'm going to ice dye this dress on a rack, so I'm going to make myself an ice barrier out of some silicone cake molds. I purchased these at Amazon and I have a link to them down below in the description too. I'm going to wrap the cake molds around the dress, and then I'm using some wooden clothespins to hold the cake molds up close to the dress. That's going to keep the ice on the dress and a little bit of the dye. I mean, the dye will fall through the cracks, but it does help some. I've placed some soda ash solution inside of a spray bottle, and I'm going to spray the top of the dress with that. That'll help the dye stick to the dress instead of so much of it falling off down into the container. I've pulled quite a few different dye colors, but I'm going to just randomly apply them to this dress. And most of the colors I'm going to add to more than one section. I'm using silver lining, gunmetal gray, brushed steel, midnight blue, timber wolf, charcoal gray, sky blue, blue gray, and brilliant blue, all from Dharma. Then from Pro Chemical, I'm using basic blue, intense blue, lapis, azure blue, and alpine blue. I'm also going to use royal blue from Dye Spin. I have the dye colors listed down below where I have the rest of my links. Now I'm going to add an additional sprinkle of soda ash over the top of all the dye, and then add on a layer of ice. After the first layer of ice melted, I came back and checked the dress, and there was still a little bit of undissolved dye left sitting on top. So I went ahead and added a second layer of ice and allowed it to melt as well. I allowed the dress to process for at least 24 hours after all the ice melted. For part of that time, I laid a container lid on top of the silicone cake molds and placed the dress outside where it was really hot. Okay, so it's time to start rinsing the dress, and to do that I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out any of the soda ash that was left in the dress. Then I untied the dress and warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to get out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I have quite a bit of excess dye coming out of the dress, so instead of just continuing to rinse for a long time, I'm going to put the stopper in my sink and add some hot water and a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent to the sink. Then I'm going to put the dress in the water and allow it to soak until the water cools off. When the water cooled off, I came back and changed out the water, and I continued that soaking process until the water ended up being mostly clear. Then I put the dress, along with some of Dharma's textile detergent, into my washing machine, and I washed it using a hot water cycle. And after the dress was washed and dried, this is what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I really like this one. I think it turned out looking cool. I like all the different blues and grays, and I ended up with some unexpected colors in this dress. Like, where's the pink coming from? There's kind of a pink hue or a hint in two of the stripes. I'm not entirely sure which color is giving that pink color split. Whichever color it wasn't very strong because there's not a lot of color in those two spaces. But, you know, I've mentioned before, I don't mind the color that a dress or a shirt goes after it's reverse dyed, so I kind of like that accent of the taupey color in this dress. I just think this dress looks really pretty. I like the black lines, and I purposely try not to make the black lines perfect, solid black lines. When you look at the dress, some of the lines are kind of dotted or jagged, and that's what I want. I want something that doesn't look like it's perfect. You know, when you look at a geode, they're not perfect. I mean, they're a little jagged and wonky, and that's what I wanted. So I really like this dress. I think that the design looks really good on this style of a dress. But what do you guys think? Drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you guys have enjoyed the process of me making this dress, I sure would appreciate it if you'd like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.